Hello everyone! In this video, I will explain about non-parametric technique. So, what is non-parametric test? A non-parametric test is one that makes no such assumptions. In this strict sense, non-parametric is essentially a null category since virtually all statistical tests assume one thing or another about the properties of the source populations. I will explain in a simple way what the chi-square test is and how you can calculate the chi-square test with just a few steps. This leads us right to the first question. What is the chi-square test? The chi-square test is a hypothesis test that is used when you want to determine whether there is a relationship between two categorical variables or not. What are categorical variables? Categorical variables are, for example, gender with the characteristic male and female, or the preferred newspaper where you have the Utusan Borneo, Daily Express, Utusan Malaysia, or, for example, the frequency of television with daily, several times a week, rare, never, or the highest educational level of a person. These are all categorical variables. The weight of a person, for example, or the salary or the electricity consumption are not a categorical variables. So, whenever we have two categorical variables and we want to check if there is a correlation between them, we use a chi-square test. We could, for example, be interested in a question if there is a relationship between gender and the preferred newspaper, or is the relationship between gender and the frequency of television. Another question could be, is there a relationship between the preferred newspaper and the frequency of television? Or finally, in the last example, is there a relationship between the frequency of television viewing and the highest level of education? Therefore, whenever we have two categorical variables for which we want to establish a relationship, we use a chi-square test. Okay, now let's go through the case study. Educators are always looking for novel ways in which to teach statistics to undergraduates as part of a non-statistics degree course. With current technology, it is possible to present how-to guides for statistical programs online instead of in a book. However, different people learn in different ways. An educator would like to know whether gender is associated with the preferred type of learning medium, which is online versus book. Therefore, we have two nominal variables, which is gender and preferred learning medium consists of online versus books. In SPSS statistics, we created two variables so that we could enter our data, which is gender and preferred learning medium. In our enhanced chi-square test for independence guide, we show you how to correctly enter data in SPSS statistics to run a chi-square test for independence. Open your SPSS, then click Variable View. At the name column, insert gender and preferred learning medium. As usual, don't use spacebar. Use underscore instead. Okay, next, at the values column, for gender, insert 1 for male and 2 for female. Do the same thing to the preferred learning medium, but change it into online and books. After you have insert all the value and label, click OK. Okay, next you click Data View and insert all the data for gender and preferred learning medium. Next, on the top menu, click Analyze, go to the Descriptive Statistics and click Cross Tabs. You will be presented with the following Cross Tabs dialog box. So, transfer one of the variables into the rows box and the other variable into the columns box. In our example, we will transfer the gender variable into the rows box and preferred learning medium into the columns box. Click on the Statistics button, then select the chi-square and also phi and Kramer's V options as shown, and then click Continue. Next, click on the Cells button. You will be presented with the following crosstabs Cell Display dialog box. Select Observes from the Counts area and Row, Column and Total from the Percentage area as shown. Then, click Continue button. Click OK. You will be presented with some tables in the Output Viewer under the title Crosstabs. The table of note are presented. This table allows us to understand that both female equally prefer book and online while male prefer online. When reading this chi-square test table, we are interested in the result of the Pearson chi-square rule. We can see here that P equals to 0.077. This tells us that there is no statistically significant association between gender and preferred learning medium. That is, both females equally prefer online and book learning, while males prefer online learning. Phi and Kramer's V are both tests of the strength of association. We can see that the strength of association between the variables is very weak. It can be easier to visualize data than with tables. The clustered bar chart option allows a relevant graph to be produced that highlights the group categories and the frequency of counts in these groups. That's all for chi-square test. Thank you for listening.